Are the Miami Dolphins frauds? From starting 3-0 to falling 3-3 with Tua being injured, the Dolphins then went on a 5-game win streak. But since that win streak, they've since lost 3 games back to back to back, and quite frankly, it did not look impressive. Miami are now sitting at 8-6 and may not even make the playoffs. Is it too early to overreact? Before we start this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more NFL content, but let's get into it. Miami were 8-0 with Tua up until Week 13 and looked like one of the most powerful offenses in the league. Week 13 rolled up against the 49ers and their offense was brutal. After all, this was their first game in 6 weeks that they would face a playoff team. They only put up 17 points, however, 7 of those points came from the first play of the drive, which in all honesty was a great play by Trent Sherfield, but a lucky one to say the least, and a very horrible play by the 49ers secondary. Speaking of horrible, Tua was a definition of that in this game. Tua coughed up a fumble while throwing 18 for 33 and 2 interceptions. He failed to convert on third down time after time again, and was even benched towards the end of the game. It almost seemed that without Tyreek Hill, this offense would be nothing. He did have 146 and a touchdown after all. Another concern that must be brought up is that the Dolphins only rushed the ball 7 times. I mean, how are you going to win a game when you only rush the ball 7 times? The Dolphins folded against this 49ers defense, and next week against the Chargers, Tua and the Dolphins played even worse. Miami put up yet again 17, however 7 of those points came from this play by Tyreek, which for real was all luck. So minus this play, and really the Dolphins only strung together 2 scoring drives and had to send out the punting unit 7 times. Tua threw for a horrific 10 for 28, 145 yards, going 35% on passing completion and only giving his wide receiver duo 6 receptions combined. Meanwhile, Justin Herbert threw 39 for 51 and 367 yards on the day, giving his wide receiver duo 18 receptions combined for over 200 yards. But the thing is, unlike the 49ers defense, the Chargers defense isn't that special. They do have some big name players, but as a unit, they have not been playing that well this year. The Chargers defense is ranked 25th currently overall. So I mean, that's back-to-back weeks where Miami has not looked good against contending teams, and the following week versus the Bills was another test to come. Granted, the game was in Buffalo, so we must note the conditions the Miami players had to play in. However, they still lost, which means that Miami is on a 3-game losing streak, and even though some may say that they were all away games, which they were, Miami isn't going to be getting home advantage in the first round of the playoffs. In fact, they currently rank at the 7th seed, which means they won't be getting any home advantage in the playoffs, say they were to make it to the Super Bowl, and say that it stays like this. The Dolphins are 3-5 away this season. However, 2 of those 3 wins came against the Bears and Lions, both in which were 1-score games. Justin Fields torched this Miami defense for 4 touchdowns and 178 rushing yards. Meanwhile, the Lions were up dominating the Dolphins in the first half, but blew their 14-point lead by not scoring in the second half. So it's safe to say that Miami is not good on the road this year. Now, what's also a concern for Miami is that they're only 1 game ahead of the Patriots, and in Week 17, they happen to play them in New England. As it stands right now, both teams also have the same divisional record, so this game is very, very decisive on what happens in the playoff picture. If we take a look at both teams' upcoming schedule, the Patriots' next couple games are against the Bengals, Dolphins, and Bills. Quite a hard schedule to end the season. However, they do play the Bengals and Dolphins at home. If we take a look at the Dolphins' upcoming schedule, they play the Packers, Patriots, and Jets. If the Dolphins were to lose against the Packers next week and the Patriots were to beat the Bengals, that would set up the possibility of, if the Patriots beat the Dolphins in Week 17, that would knock Miami out of a playoff spot, thus leaving it up to the final day and all in the Patriots' hands as they can secure playoffs with a win in Buffalo. And then the Dolphins play the Jets in the final week, in which they already lost to them this season 40-17. So yeah, I feel like this is quite an under-the-radar concern for the Dolphins. If anything, the Dolphins are extremely lucky that Jacoby Myers gave away that game against the Raiders, because if the Patriots were to win that game in overtime, Miami would really be on the ropes. Now again, if you compare upcoming schedules, you'd think that Miami would be safe to make playoffs. But like I said, Miami are on a 3-game losing streak, and I'm never going to doubt Aaron Rodgers, especially against Tua. And on the other side, the Bengals are hot, but I'm also never going to doubt Bill Belichick against Zach Taylor. And even if we take a look at the Jets' chances and their upcoming schedule, the Jets could very well knock Miami out of a playoff spot. The Jets' upcoming games are against the Jags, Seahawks, and Dolphins. Now, the Jags have been hot recently. However, they have taken some bad losses this year, and the game is in New York, so that is a game that the Jets can easily win. If the Jets win against the Jags, all they would need to do is beat the Seahawks, and that would set them up so nicely. The Seahawks aren't an easy team to play. However, we must take note that they've lost 4 out of their last 5 games. So again, that is another game that the Jets are very capable of winning. Which means if the Jets go into Miami Week 18, winning these 2 games, sitting 9-7, even if Miami beat the Bengals and even if Miami beat the Patriots, a Jets win would secure them the playoffs as they would have beat Miami twice this season. They would also have the same division record, going 3-3. However, the Jets would make the playoffs because they're 2-0 against the Dolphins. So it is really not far off to say that Miami could very well miss the playoffs this season. These 3 games are so important, and the AFC North is so crazy right now. After starting the season very hot, Tyreek was on pace to breaking the receiving yard record. They traded for Bradley Chubb. They traded for Jeff Wilson. Jalen Waddle has turned into an elite receiver. All this hype and sacrifice could be for nothing. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm overreacting? Let me know in the comments below. Personally, I don't think so. I am excited to see what's going to happen. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more NFL content.